Welcome to the wonderful channel where books are discussed. Yes, there is a summary of this book too. If you're ready, let's get started.
Albert Camus' The Stranger, originally L'Étranger, published in 1942, is one of the most iconic novels of the 20th century, embodying the philosophy of existentialism and absurdism. The story revolves around Meursault, a French-Algerian man who seems emotionally detached from life, society, and moral expectations. Through his indifferent perspective, Camus explores the absurdity of human existence and society's attempt to impose meaning where none inherently exists. The novel begins with one of the most famous lines in modern literature: "Mother died today." Or maybe yesterday, I can't be sure. From this very first sentence, Camus establishes Meursault's dispassionate nature. The narrator doesn't react to his mother's death with the expected grief or emotion. Instead, he focuses on practical matters, taking a bus to the home for the aged, borrowing a black tie, arranging time off from work. When he arrives at the nursing home, he meets the director and caretaker, both of whom seem more affected by Madame Meursault's death than he is. During the vigil, Meursault refuses to view his mother's body. He is more concerned with the physical discomforts, the glare of the sun, the stiffness of the chairs, and his need for a cigarette. When other residents of the home gather to mourn, he feels uneasy, not because of sadness, but because their sorrow feels excessive and meaningless to him. His apathy shocks those around him. At the funeral the next day, Meursault again shows no emotional distress. The oppressive heat and blinding sunlight dominate his thoughts. The details of the burial barely register. His detachment sets the tone for the rest of the novel. It is not death itself that disturbs him, but rather the physical discomforts that accompany it. After returning to Algiers, Meursault resumes his life as though nothing significant has happened. The day after his mother's funeral, he goes swimming, meets a young woman named Marie Cardona, a former co-worker, and begins a casual romantic relationship. They spend the day at the beach, then go to the cinema to watch a comedy. When Marie learns that Meursault's mother has just died, she is surprised but not judgmental, though she finds his lack of emotion strange. Meursault's indifference extends to his work as well. He is content with his monotonous routine and has no ambition for promotion. His boss offers him an opportunity to move to Paris for advancement, but Meursault declines, saying he's satisfied with his current life. He sees no reason to change what he perceives as a neutral existence. His neighbors introduce him to a few other characters who further develop the story. Raymond Sens, one of his neighbors, is a shady man who mistreats women and is suspected of criminal behavior. When Raymond asks Meursault to help him write a letter to lure back his mistress, whom he plans to punish for cheating, Meursault agrees without hesitation. He doesn't judge Raymond's intentions or consider moral consequences. He simply sees it as a favor. The plan leads to a violent altercation. Raymond's mistress returns, reads the letter, and after being humiliated, is beaten by Raymond. The police are called, and Meursault testifies that Raymond's version of events is truthful. His willingness to support Raymond, despite his cruelty, further highlights Meursault's moral neutrality. Later, Raymond invites Meursault and Marie to spend a Sunday at a friend's beach house. There, they encounter a group of Arabs, one of whom is the brother of Raymond's abused mistress. Tensions escalate and a fight breaks out. Raymond is injured by a knife, but the confrontation temporarily ends. However, the sense of danger lingers in the scorching Algerian sun. Meursault, restless and overheated, later walks alone along the beach. The heat, glare, and blinding light dominate his senses. When he encounters one of the Arabs again, the man flashes his knife. The sunlight reflects off the blade, intensifying Meursault's discomfort and confusion. In that moment, without clear reason or emotion, Meursault fires his revolver, killing the Arab. He then fires 4 more shots into the lifeless body. The murder scene is not driven by passion or hatred, but by the unbearable heat, light, and sensory overload. It becomes the central event of the novel, the point where Mersault's passive existence collides with societal expectations. The second part of The Stranger shifts from external events to Mersault's internal world as he faces imprisonment and trial. The narrative tone remains the same flat, objective, emotionally neutral. In prison, Mersault adjusts to the monotony. He misses the sun and sea, but not Marie or his freedom in an emotional sense. He occupies himself by sleeping, remembering old moments, and watching the light patterns on the walls. Marie visits him once, expressing her affection and hope for the future. But her optimism contrasts sharply with Mersault's detachment. He doesn't long for release or regret the murder. To him, life and death seem equally meaningless. At the trial, the absurdity of society's moral structure becomes evident. Instead of focusing on the murder itself, the prosecution builds its case around Mersault's lack of emotion at his mother's funeral. Witnesses describe how he smoked, didn't cry, and went swimming the next day. His atheism, indifference, and emotional detachment are portrayed as signs of his inhumanity. Camus uses the trial as an allegory for society's need to assign meaning and morality to an indifferent universe. Mersault is not condemned for killing a man as much as he is for not adhering to social expectations of grief, remorse, or faith. The prosecutor paints him as a moral monster man without a soul while the defense fails to counter the narrative. Marie testifies on his behalf. But her description of their casual relationship only reinforces the image of Mersault as heartless. Raymond also testifies, but his criminal background damages Mersault's case further. When asked why he killed the Arab, Mersault gives no satisfactory answer. He cannot explain it rationally. It simply happened. His honesty and refusal to feign emotion seal his fate. The court finds him guilty and sentences him to death by guillotine. Awaiting execution, Mersault reflects on his life and the absurdity of the world. The prison chaplain visits him repeatedly, trying to convince him to turn to God. Mersault refuses, asserting that belief in a divine purpose is a lie. In a powerful outburst, he declares that life is meaningless, death inevitable, and the universe indifferent to human suffering. This confrontation marks Mersault's spiritual awakening, not in a religious sense, but in an existential one. He accepts the absurdity of existence and finds peace in acknowledging it. For the first time, he feels alive and connected to the world, not because it offers meaning, but because it exists in all its indifferent beauty. In the novel's final moments, Mersault looks up at the night sky, feeling the warmth of the world embrace him. He imagines the crowd at his execution greeting him with cries of hatred, and he welcomes it. In that acceptance of the world's hostility and indifference, Mersault achieves a form of freedom, the ability to live without illusions, interpretation, and themes. Camus' The Stranger is not just a story about a man who commits murder. It is a profound exploration of existentialism and the philosophy of the absurd. The absurd, as Camus defines it, arises from the conflict between human beings' search for meaning and the silent, indifferent universe that offers none. Mersault becomes the embodiment of this philosophy. He does not pretend that life has purpose, nor does he seek comfort in religion or morality. His alienation from society is not due to rebellion, but honesty. While others cling to socially constructed meanings, grief, justice, faith, Mersault refuses to lie. His crime in the eyes of society is not the murder itself, but his refusal to play the moral game. The sun, light, and heat recur as powerful symbols throughout the novel. They represent both the physical reality of Mersault's environment and the oppressive force of existence itself. The moment of murder, overwhelmed by sunlight, symbolizes how sensory experience and the indifferent natural world overpower rationality and morality. Camus' minimalist style reinforces this worldview. The prose is stripped of emotion, presenting life as a series of sensations and facts. Yet within that simplicity lies deep philosophical complexity. Conclusion: The Stranger stands as one of literature's most profound meditations on the human condition. Through Mersault's indifference and final acceptance, Camus exposes the tension between the individual and society, between the search for meaning and the inevitability of death. The novel challenges readers to confront life's absurdity and, paradoxically, to find peace within it. By the end, Meursault is no longer an outcast or a criminal in his own eyes. He has transcended society's judgment, embracing the freedom that comes from understanding that nothing matters except the raw experience of being alive. In his final moments, as he looks at the stars and feels joy in the face of execution, Meursault embodies Camus' belief that the only true victory in an absurd world is to live without false hope to love life, even when it offers no reason.
The summary of another book is finished. What did you learn from this book? Have you read it before? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe and like the channel.